The time has come, guys. Star Wars Legion is back, and I have a brand new massive project for the channel. We're bringing Dawn of War to the tabletop using Star Wars Legion models, rules, and terrain, and this project is going to be epic. But guys, if you want to help this project progress, please join our membership program down below for $1 a month. You can help us fund the channel, get all of our equipment we need, continue 3D printing terrain, and buying models to help progress this series. And guys, if you want to subscribe down below, that goes a long way to help as well. It will help us get the word out there and help you stay up to date with all the videos we have coming out in the future. Alrighty guys, so for those of you who don't know, Dawn of War was a video game that was released back in 2006. It's a game that resonates a lot with tabletop gamers, just because it was based off of the Warhammer 40,000 franchise from Games Workshop. So this game was real-time strategy. It was multiplayer, super cool, and super revolutionary for the video game industry at the time. Now, this game has a bunch of base building with different, like, unit production facilities. It had objective points. It gave you resource points to build new units. You could upgrade units, heal units. It was absolutely massive when it came out and a huge success overall, and the franchise is still available. Like you see, guys, this I just got off of Steam, so you can still play this game if you want to. But one of the big things that a lot of people have wanted to do for a long time is bring these Dawn of War style rules to the tabletop. And one YouTuber actually has already done it. So you know this guy as Zorpazorp. He has a couple different channels. He does like big terrain projects. He brought Dawn of War to the tabletop with Warhammer 40,000 over on his Zorp Hammer channel. I'll try and put a link to some of the videos down below. Sadly, it looks like this channel's been discontinued and this series has been discontinued, but it was really cool because he did it. He built a massive table with recreations of all the buildings and everything, with huge armies, and made some really cool content and a new way to play Warhammer 40,000 8th edition, which I really liked and looked like a ton of fun to play. But it raises the question, if you can do this with Warhammer 40,000, why can't we do it with Star Wars Legion, guys? Star Wars Legion is a prime game within the gaming community. It's been out for a while. We have a ton of unit selections for it and a strong IP background with a ton of terrain that's easily 3D printable from places like Legion Terrain, Etsy, and a couple other stuff. So I'm really excited to give this a try, guys. And this is going to be my big project for 2025, is bringing Star Wars Legion to Dawn of War itself. So guys, if you're out there at Atomic Mass Games and you see this and you want to send me some plastic stormtroopers and rebel troopers so I can use them in this series, that would be fantastic. But guys, if you want to see this project continue, make sure you subscribe and watch these videos so I know there's interest out there and this is something you would want to see, because I do want to make this a public thing. I want to have the rules available to everybody so everybody can play, but we're going to have some development diaries and some behind the scenes stuff and play testing that will be members only videos. So if you want to keep up to date with those, guys, make sure you join our membership section to see all that and go through our play testing and all of that good stuff. So definitely keep that in mind. Alrighty guys, so I've been developing this game for about 2 months now. Specifically, one of the things that I've really had to try and make is a table that fits well for the Dawn of War style. So I want something that looks nice, for one. It kind of shows the Star Wars aesthetic, so something that we're familiar with, but allows for a little bit of creativity and a little bit of homebrew in there itself. So this is kind of the prototype table so far. So this is an 8x6. I'm going to use this for play testing, but games will probably be on a 12 foot by 6 foot just to spread things out a little bit longer. I want to make this like an overall series where, you know, we may play like 6 turns of video and have battle reports out that way, and then have this be like an ongoing narrative to where this could take like 20-30 turns to play and could be a really cool, like, fun overarching series. that allows me to really tell the story of Star Wars. So you have like little sleeper cells of stuff that pop up, or more narrative effects within the table itself, which I really want to look into as we move forward with this project. But guys, this is the table that I have so far. So this is 8 foot by 6 foot. Yes, the mats don't match, but we will be changing that very, very soon. So we have a central like city there that we're going to be fighting over. I'm going to have some farms on the sides, as well as, guys, we're going to add a ton of area terrain to this. I just ordered a large amount of like palm trees and plastic card, which will turn into our area terrain for this. But I'm really, really excited for this. I need to get some foam still, because looking at this, the map is completely flat, and I would like to see some raised areas, some hills and stuff, just to show like the different, you know, topographical stuff within the game itself. But so we have our central town area, which will be one set color of buildings, which will be kind of like this tannish Carrick stone-esque town. And then on the outsides, you can see these gray buildings. So these are player built and placed buildings. So we've got a main HQ, a barracks, and then I call it a mechanics bay currently, but it'll be like a vehicle production area. So I'm really excited to get this table done so I can start playtesting a little bit more. I've done a little bit so far, but the things I have realized is, one, I need a bigger table to fit all this on so I'm not playing on the ground. And two, area terrain is really, really needed. It's cool to have like this big town in the center where we can block line of sight and have like skirmishes with infantry models, and it really pushes you kind of close together. But you really need that area terrain so vehicles have a place to go and infantry have a place to hide from vehicles. Now, I think when we move up to a 12 foot by 6 foot, we can spread things out a little bit more. And when we add some things that I'm currently 3D printing and working on, this table is going to be pretty epic. Let's just say there's going to be a train running through it. It'll be super, super cool when it's done. And Imperial Terrain has some super cool files that I'm really ready to print and use on the channel. But guys, definitely let me know what you think, how the table can be improved other than making it bigger and having the mats match. I know that's a big deal, but I really think some area terrain on here, as well as I have to put down the POI markers, so like the requisition points. Those are definitely going to go down on here, and they're going to be clearly visible with 3D printed area markers. But overall, I think it's a good start, and I really can't wait to expand on this. And I may have like some close-up videos for the table here in our members only section. So besides the table, we had to have armies to play this. I'm focusing on the Clone Wars era right now, so I have a massive CIS army. I've got 40 units of B1s, 15 units of the BX battle droids, 12 units of the B2s. I think I have like 15 units of Magna Guard. I have a huge CIS army with most of it painted, enough to definitely do this. But I really wanted to have a really well-painted, cohesive clone army for them to fight. So I've been stripping and repainting my 501st. I have two clone armies, the 212th and the 501st. The 212th was mainly Phase 1 troopers. I'm redoing that to go to Phase 2s. And then the 501st, which were basically almost non-existent other than a couple characters that I painted up. So we've been expanding that. I have currently 8 units of Phase 2 clone troopers, the Bad Batch, 5 units of on foot, and 3 units of jump ARC troopers. And I have ARF troopers that as soon as they come out in the US, I'll have those and get those painted up and ready for this, as well as some saber tanks, a couple of the ATRTs, and bark speeders and everything like that. So the armies are set. We're getting them painted. The only thing I really have left to do for the 501st are the ARC troopers, basing everything, as well as doing a couple of the ATRTs. But this army should be done and should be easy to do here within the next week or so. After that, I'll switch over to the CIS just to paint up some odds and ends to help paint things. But overall, the armies will look really, really cool moving forward. Now, as far as expanding this, probably the next thing I'm going to add is the Shadow Collective. I do have a large Shadow Collective force that is mostly painted. I think if you follow my Instagram, I post a lot of stuff up there. I'm currently painting all the Black Suns for that force, in kind of as like a palette cleanser between the clones and the CIS. But it is a super cool project, and I'm really excited to continue this painting. I've always loved painting Star Wars Legion models, and I think this is really going to help me propel me to finish stuff I already have. Now, as far as getting into the Rebels and the Empire, I had a really big Empire army. I actually gave it to a buddy of mine who was not in the best financial standing but wanted to start an Empire force. And at the time, I'd given up on Star Wars Legion. I wasn't happy with the local community and some things that had happened within the community I was in. So I just gave it away to the one person I liked out of the community. And now I'm kind of regretting it, but I'm really excited to rebuild my Empire army, especially with the new plastics that are coming out. I wasn't really happy with the paint scheme, but I didn't want to strip everything to the models that I had anyway. So this is a really good chance for me to refresh Empire, start again with new plastics. I do have a decent sized Rebel force that, you know, it's like all the other Rebels, it's made out of the soft plastics. So moving into the hard plastics that are coming out soon, I think that'll be a really good opportunity for me to restart those forces, especially with these one-player starter sets coming up. So I'm really, really excited for those. Hey, AMG, if you want to send me some stuff, that'd be awesome, because that would give me a jump start on those. And I'm really excited to do battle reports with those moving forward, because sleeper cells look really, really fun and look like they would be really good on the table, especially like in between these tight buildings and stuff. Would be really cool to see. And Riot Control Troopers might actually have a place, because if they can sneak up in there and just start whacking people over the heads in that city, that would be super cool and thematic. So as far as the rules goes, we have been working on a couple key things. So the first thing is player-based buildings and destructible buildings. So currently there are 3 buildings in the game. We have the command center, which holds your basic core troop unit. So for Rebels, that's Rebel Troopers. For Empire, that is Stormtroopers. For the clones, that is the Clone Trooper. And for the CIS, that is the B-1 Battle Droid. Now, you can also produce your army's general. So, like if you're taking the 501st and you choose Anakin Skywalker as your general, he can be produced from your command center, as well as the most generic base HQ unit. So like that is the clone commander, okay, for the clones, or that would be like the tactical droid for the CIS, or the Imperial officer for Empire. So just the basic stuff like that. Then we get into the barracks. The barracks allow you to produce your other core troopers, as well as non-vehicle special forces and support units. That would be like ARF troopers, BARC troopers, B2 super battle droids, ARC troopers. Now, then we also have, currently the file we're using is the mechanics bay from the Imperial Armory, but it's basically where vehicles are going to be produced. Now, there are limits on how many of each of these buildings you can have. You can have 1 command center, 2 barracks, and 1 mechanics bay. So unit production is going to be limited within these. Eventually, we do want to progress a couple other buildings in there. I would like to put in a research building, so you have to research stuff like doing leaders and units, the expanded units. So like rather than adding like 1 B1, when you add like the whole unit of B1s, that could be a separate upgrade you had to purchase. Basically stuff like that. Okay. Now, another thing we're looking at is resource points. So these are objectives that are going to be on the tabletop scattered around. They're going to probably be a mirror match on each side. And deployment in this game is going to be really, really like hardcore set, especially to start, where your command center is going to be placed, and then you have to build the other buildings around it. But we're going to have probably 6 to 8 resource points within the table itself. Every time a player takes those, they're going to get an increase in their resources, like an instant capture bonus, and then a passive amount every turn from each objective area they hold. Now, I'm toying with the rules on these because within the Dawn of War game itself, when you went to take one of these points, if an enemy controlled it, you had to knock down their control and then build yours back up. So I'm toying with the rules of, if you try to capture an enemy held objective, you have to knock it down to a no hold. So in other words, you run up, you take it, the next turn it drops down to nobody has it, and then if you have it again at the end of your next turn, it bumps up to you controlling it. I'm kind of toying with that idea. Now, obviously, that would only be for enemy-held objectives. If they were neutral, like no one had held it before, it would only take you one turn to capture it. And then you would get the bonus points and the passive income as well. So I'm really kind of toying with that idea. Let me know down below what you think about that. Also, the points increase that you get from that. So I want to make sure that you can at least build one core, core troop unit a turn. So in that 100 points range per turn. Now, it's kind of interesting because I don't want each requisition point worth 50 points, because then you would be getting 200 points a turn plus the passive that everybody gets. So it'd be 250 points every turn, and that's a lot of points for you to build units with, especially within Star Wars Legion, because you have some units that are really, really cheap. Now, when we start adding research and other stuff into the game, that may not be as bad, but I also don't want to make requisition points 100 points either, and then you're getting just a stupid amount every single turn of the game. So it's definitely something I need to really balance internally, and it's something that's really going to come through in playtesting of what that right point is. Now, the map size is also going to determine that too. If you're playing on a smaller map, you may not use as many resource points, so just keep that in mind moving forward, that when we play on a smaller map, we're not going to have as many, whereas when we play on a larger map, we'll probably have more resource points. Now, the third thing I'm really focusing on the rules are command cards, secondary objectives, and condition cards. So command cards are going to be on a 6-turn revolving basis. So every 6 turns, you build a new command hand. You can put any cards in there that are available to your faction, but you can only play cards that meet the conditions. So if you take an Obi-Wan Kenobi card and put it in your command hand at the start of the 6 turns, and you don't have Obi-Wan on the field, you haven't made him yet from your buildings, then you just can't play that card. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And then at the end of 6 turns, you basically reset your hand. Sorry for the yawning, guys. It's been a long week. But overall, I think this is going to be a really cool way of doing the system, and it's going to allow for you to vary your gameplay based off of the characters you choose to incorporate into the army itself. Now, for the mission objectives, the main mission, it's going to really be limited at the start. So the first one is going to be a destroy condition, to where you have to destroy the enemy's command HQ to win. So that command building, that would be the only way to win outright. Now, I don't know if we're going to have turn limits to this game, just because it could go on for a really long time, which to me is great. But that's not the thing every gamer wants to have. Eventually, we're going to add additional command cards in there, build up to a certain amount of requisition points, or hold this many requisition points for this long to win. So I think those will be really cool command cards to add in there. As far as secondary command cards, that's going to be a little bit more tricky to balance. So it could be it could be stuff that are like bounty or secret mission or things like that. but it's going to be weird for scoring because there's no turn limit. So I don't know if secondary objectives are going to be a thing moving forward within this Dawn of War Star Wars Legion playstyle. Now, as far as condition cards go, I think this is great. I love condition cards, and I think they will help change this game a lot. I want to bring back some of the stuff like fortified positions, like putting up barriers and things like that within the game. But I've also toyed around with making barriers buildable things that you can spend your resource points on also. So we'll keep that in mind. But I think condition cards are going to be really what varies the gameplay within these Dawn of War mechanics. You know, you can add stuff in there like storms that reduce visibility, like night fighting, which improves cover and reduces like ranges. I think it'd be really, really cool to add stuff like that into the game, especially if you have an ongoing game. You can make it to where, hey, you're building your stack out. So like you keep putting the secondary objectives in there, and every 6 turns you flop a card over. So like you place all 4 or 5 of your condition tokens or cards in there, and you kind of choose the order you put them in, and then at the start of every turn, or every 6 turns, like when you play your new command hand, you take the top card and put it to the back, and the next card up there, that's the condition you have going for that turn. So something I'm going to have to think about. I think it will be a really, really cool system, especially if you and your opponent like trade it off, like there's only one secondary or condition deck, and like you fight to like put the cards in the order you want to. I think that would be like a really cool system, and one I may really have to look forward to in the future. So definitely let me know what y'all think about that idea, and let me know what you think about this series, guys. I know this is a long video, but one that I was really, really happy to make, and I'm really excited to move this project forward. But guys, thank you so much for watching here on the channel. If you've liked this, make sure you subscribe down below. Check out our members only section for more videos, and keep being awesome. Queen City Minis and more, signing out, folks.